Okay, today I'm doing something I've wanted to do for a long time. I think he has too. I'm Laurel Wynn. We have Coach Adam Smith on the podcast with us today. He is also actually my coach, the dad of one of my best friend, Tiny Humans, Parker, and the head coach of the men's and women's cross country teams and distance athletes on the track here at Ole Miss. So thanks for being with us.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Year 4, you're about to start. I did not think I would be here for 4 years with you, but talk about your timeline to getting here, because I think even I don't even know your full story, getting into running and your coaching journey and those kinds of things. So let's start with that. For one, you grew up in Pennsylvania. How did you even get immersed into running?
Yeah. So I think like most people, kind of played a bunch of sports when I was growing up, soccer, played football a little bit. And the running thing kind of happened accidentally. Just was a below average soccer player who happened to be able to run a little bit further and faster than some kids, and ended up trying out for really just kind of walking out for the track team my freshman year. Thought I was going to be a 400-meter guy, ended up being a miler, which turned into an 800-meter guy by the end of my career, and fortunately was able to be recruited to North Carolina, and so went down there, ran down there for 4 years, and then was fortunate enough to be kept on staff for I volunteered for a year and a half, and then started coaching there, and then really the career kind of took off from there. Got a job at Syracuse, was there for 6 years from 2012 to 18, and then did the pro thing for Reebok for 4 years, and then landed down here in 22, and going into year 4.
And I want to get into all of them a little bit more because I do know you, and so I know some of those things. Didn't you kick in high school?
I did,
yeah,
a long time ago. Yeah, but was a high school kicker. Kind of just accidentally again found out I could kick a football and gym class, and ended up showing up one day with football pads. Told my mom I had a game, and she's like, "What do you mean you have a game?" I said, "Yeah, we got a game tonight. I'm on the team," and ended up kind of doing that for a while. Was a lot of fun, and I was recruited at that by a couple schools as well. But really, the running thing was something always that I knew I wanted to do, and they don't pay the scholarships for kickers weren't necessarily as much as I was making for running track at the time. So yeah, just kind of stuck with it.
So because you recruit here, I help with recruits as well, obviously as part of the team. We ask a lot of people, and we get asked, why do we choose Ole Miss? So why'd you choose UNC?
Yeah, I want to do something different. It really came down to Penn State, North Carolina, and I didn't really want to have a family reunion per se. And a lot of my high school went to Penn State, and Chapel Hill was a great school. I had a great opportunity to go down there, and so it was really something that when I was presented with it, I was like, hey, I can't really pass this up, and went down there. So.
Okay, so something I really appreciate about you is just you have a lot of pride for your teams. We won't get into the NFL stuff because we're not having that conversation here.
Sure.
He's an Eagles fan, everyone,
Yes.
so we'll just move on from that.
Yeah.
But you love the Tar Heels, like still to this day, even though you're the head coach of the Rebels. I mean, you obviously want us to excel in everything we do here as a program, but you still have so much admiration for Carolina and everything they did for you. So what was your experience like there? Why is it so special to you?
Yeah, it was just a really good fit. I think we talk about that all the time, but it was just something I was really proud to be a part of. Have friends to this day that I still talk to. Had a great coach there, Mike Whittlesey, who had a huge impact on my career, and again, was just a really special place. I think when you find that fit and you find that feel, that family type atmosphere, something that you really just kind of relate to, and I wanted to bring that here with me in my coaching career.
Okay, you also would say that it's a different NCAA, it's a different ACC, but you were a runner-up at the ACC championships in the 800, so you've got a clue what's going on, kind of what it takes to be good. So whenever you were making that transition from athlete to that GA spot at UNC, did you know you wanted to coach, or was that sort of just, okay, here's a position, I'll take it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I knew I wanted to coach. I knew I kind of had to put in my time. Honestly, I started out helping my head coach some women's middle distance runners and some multi-event athletes and some high jumpers. But to get your first, break, get your foot in the door, like sometimes you got to do some things that you got to pay your dues. And so those were my dues. It was helping out whatever my head coach, Dennis Craddock, wanted me to do. And it was I was learning a lot. It was something that was out of my comfort zone a little bit, but we had a lot of distance coaches at the time including the old coach who used to be here, Ryan Van Hoy, and he was under Pete Watson. And so there were a little too many cooks in the kitchen. So I kind of had to wait and bide my time. And then actually in January of 22, finally got a shot to be an assistant coach there, was paid and felt like I won the lottery a little bit, and then used that to kind of propel my career at Syracuse.
So you started at Syracuse in 2012 after your time as a GA there. How did that transition happen? And can you talk a little bit about sort of your mentor and Coach Fox there and the relationship that you developed at Syracuse and the growth?
Yeah. So I actually was applying for a different job at Dartmouth at the time. Mark Coogan, who now coaches a New Balance group, was the women's coach at Dartmouth. And they were creating this middle distance position. I was like, oh, this is perfect. And so I asked some of my coaches around. I said, hey, anybody know anybody up there? And he said, yeah, Chris Fox at Syracuse knows Mark Coogan. Give him a call. So I kind of blindly reached out to Coach Fox and got to know him over a couple of weeks and months, and really got a chance to meet him and thank him. I ended up getting the job at Dartmouth. Well, I accepted the job at Dartmouth and got a chance to meet Coach Fox at NCAA's in Des Moines in 2012. And sat down. I said, hey, can I buy you a beer for all the help? And he said, sure. And so we started talking, and he kind of said, yeah, if I ever have a spot on staff, I'd love to hire you. And 2 weeks later, Brandon Bonzi, who's now at Georgetown, left to go there, and a spot opened up. And I originally told him, hey, I gave Dartmouth my word. I got to go there. And he was like, I'll take care of it. And then Dartmouth called me and kind of said, you got to take that job. And so ended up really going down there and worked for the best guy in the business. Coach Fox is the best coach in the country. He's like a dad to me. Just really somebody who I've tried to emulate my coaching career after. I think the programs at Syracuse and North Carolina were a little bit different. And so Syracuse was definitely more of a cross-country powerhouse per se. So really learned a lot about that sport. I didn't do it. I did it for a week in high school and didn't really run cross-country that much in college. Like I said, a half miler, you don't see too many 800-meter guys running 8K and 10K. But really got a chance to really see how a team was built and how that recruiting happened and how to really cultivate a championship caliber team. And so he's been instrumental to my career. I talk to him every day. I know I've talked to him about you and some of the people here multiple times. I think he has a large part to what we're doing down here as well, because I do pick his brain so much. But really just a guy who does everything right, treats people right. And again, a lot of stuff I try to use in my everyday coaching career.
There's so many reasons when Jake, he suggested that we get you on the podcast. I was so excited because I feel like there are so many things about you need to be known. Like I want you to have more exposure because you do have so much experience. I don't think people realize the kind of caliber head coach we have at Ole Miss. With you guys were national champions on the cross country side, men, in 2015 at Syracuse, I believe.
2015, yeah.
And tons of conference championships, and then you're at Syracuse, and then you dip into the pro ranks a little bit with Reebok Boston Track Club, and I know you and Coach Fox created that together. Which, can we just talk about the name, because you were in Charlottesville, Virginia,
yes,
and we called it Reebok Boston Track Club.
Yeah, didn't start off on the hottest foot. We didn't know that, to be honest. That was kind of a last second thing that they spawned on us. It was supposed to be called the Bolton Track Club. Because Reebok was originally founded in Bolton, England, and so we were going to be called the Bolton Track Club. And then at the 11th hour before the group was kind of made public, they told us it was going to be the Reebok Boston Track Club, and we knew we were in Charlottesville. And so I think our credibility off the gun didn't bode too well for us. But honestly, we tried to let the results speak for itself. It didn't bother us. It was a great place to train, great place to live. We wanted to do somewhere on the East Coast where you could train all year, and we didn't want to go to altitude. And so it was somewhere where we knew we could train all year long, access to really good meets. Dulles Airport was pretty close if we needed to do some international flights, things like that. But yeah, we really just built the program from the ground up, had a couple studs from Syracuse who, we kind of founded the group off of. Justin Knight, Marty Haher, Colin Benny. Justin has been top 10 in the world a couple times, and Colin and Marty were in 2020, 2021, I think we're two of the top 5 marathoners in the country. So, it was just, and then we kind of had a really good women's program as well with Josette Norris, who just finished 6th in the world. Amy Eloise Neal was really, really good as well, and a couple other marathoners, Paige Stoner, Abby McNulty, Shannon Malone. We had a really good group. And
whenever that sort of was ending, because obviously a lot of those athletes, I mean, it's no longer Reebok Boston Track Club.
Yeah.
A lot of those athletes are elsewhere with other deals. You were looking for a job, and you had a lot of familiarity with this program.
I did, yeah.
And so many people don't know that, the connection, which I think is such a unique part of it, and it's such a cool story. Can you share with us how you were so familiar with Ole Miss, the program, and sort of the connection you had here?
Yeah, so I guess it kind of goes full circle a little bit back to my North Carolina days, but one of my former teammates and best friends to this day, Ryan Van Hoy, was the old coach down here. And so when he got this job, I think he got this job in the January of 13, maybe. Was it January of 13? Something like that. But anyway, he got this job after having a pretty short but successful career up at Northeastern, coaching Eric Jenkins up there, had a really good team. He came down here, and so once he came down here, I mean, you follow your buddies. You know, you're always checking in on them and seeing how they're doing. And so, you know, I was a closet Ole Miss fan, just rooting for my buddy to do well down here. And so actually in 2016, I think we were third in the country at Syracuse, and Ole Miss was fourth.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool moment. But yeah, I had followed since Ryan had been down here, and so always kind of told him. In joking, but also kind of serious, like, hey, if you ever leave, I want your job. And so if you can put in a good word, that'd be great. And you know, he ended up leaving a couple years ago in 2022 to go to Cal Poly and be his own boss, take his wife there, and she could coach the women as well, Michelle. And so it was one of those things when it opened up, it was something that I was aggressive on and just said, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to get this job. I knew this place had incredible history, middle distances, cross country, men's, women's. It was just a place I knew could be really good and successful. And so I'm a competitor. I wanted to be somewhere where you could be great, and that's what this place is. So, so came down here in 22, and like I said, going into year 4.
So obviously I was on the team at the time with Coach.
First person I met.
Coach Ryan Van Hoy, which that you led me in so well. I think we have different timelines of the first time we met. I know what you referred to as, but I have one. So I want to get your perspective of the first time that we met.
Well, I think the first time that we met, I guess now that I'm thinking back at it, the first time we met was probably in Indiana.
Yeah, that's the
regionals.
one.
But I think the first official time we met when I had this job was, I think Brennan and I were coming out of the team room, and I think you were going out for a run, and you were the first person that said, hey, I'm Laurel Wynn, I'm on your team. And I said, I know who you are. But yeah, that's what I consider the first official.
Okay, yeah, I consider the first one Indiana. So we had regional outdoor track in Bloomington, Indiana at IU, obviously. I didn't know it at the time at all who Coach Smith was. I just saw this guy. We were all outside at the hotel with Van Hoy and Michelle, and their little kid were playing around with him, Hudson. And then this guy walks up in like a Reebok shirt that he still has to this day. He wears all the time. And I'm like, who is this guy? And we're standing, we're chatting. Of course, I think about it so much now because you form like a perception of someone the first time you meet them, and then you think about how different they are when you get to know them.
Sure.
So I thought that was really cool because we were on a Zoom call. Obviously, Coach Connie, our administration, we're getting ready to, our new head coach is getting announced, and I'm sitting with a teammate at our house for the Zoom call, and I'm looking, and she's like, oh, you know who this is? You know who this is? And I'm going, I have no idea who this person is. Adam Smith. I have no idea. And then I go, oh, wait a minute. I've met him already. This should be interesting. Yeah. And then, of course, met you when you got on campus, and I praise you all the time for the way that you handled coming into it, because big shoes that you were filling, and you talk about that sometimes, maybe not enough, but obviously Van Hoy completely turned this program around here, and he was an incredible coach. Obviously, you know, they're really close to me, sure. And I just appreciated them so much, so I was excited. I had no intent to ever leave by any means, but when you came in, I mean, I think I was the first phone call you made, if I remember correctly, and you were just trying to hit the ground running, and you did that with everyone. But I vividly remember sitting in your office in year 1, because it's a lot going on. You had no assistants, no help, and it was new, and you're trying to get the team going. And I sat in your office as an older person, because I think our relationship from day one just has always been very, very close. It's so unique. And I asked you, like, how you were doing, because I could tell it was a lot. And how is in your opinion, your perspective, how was year 1 compared to the most recent 2?
Year 1 was a lot. Just a lot of, like you talked about, obviously pressure, and a lot of that I put on myself. But, you know, you want to make people proud. I wanted to make Ryan proud. I want to make this place proud. I want to make my family and friends proud. And so Yeah, without having an assistant coaching men and women, I mean, this was really my first kind of big boy job. And so, you're in the SEC, you're in the best conference in the country, and we're coming off having a pretty good year on both sides. I mean, I think the women were 10th or 11th the year before when I got here. And the men had made nationals for the last couple of years. And so having that, obviously you walk in with a really good group, but you want to keep it going. And so the recruiting was really big, and again, doing that by yourself and making the runs to the airports, and all while coaching a team. And then I found out in December that my wife and I were expecting Parker, and so that threw another piece to the puzzle. But yeah, I mean, it was totally just getting your feet wet, but like hitting the ground running and just like all gas, no brakes. Just, hey, we got to keep this thing going and keep moving on. And so. But again, being able to recruit the people that you wanted to here, and not necessarily make it your team, but these weren't my guys yet, and so yeah, I was coaching them, and obviously I say my guys and my girls, it wasn't my team yet, and so having to earn that trust, having to earn that respect, wasn't something that I took for granted, and was really something that I wanted to try to do sooner than later. And I think we had really good results that first year. I think. On all sides, from cross country to indoor track to outdoor track. I mean, I think we were second in the DMR that year. We had a couple All-Americans in the 800. SEC champ. Crystal was a steeplechase champ that year. I think we set 7 school records on the women's side. I think we set 2 on the men's side. So really just taking what I had and just trying to make the most of it, And yeah, that was first year was a lot of fun. It flew by. And now that, the team is a lot different, which you did not probably expect to be here this long, but it's a totally different team we have now. And these are the guys that I've brought in here over the last 4 years, and a lot of transfers we brought in, some local talent, some high school kids, but really getting the pieces here that you need to be really good and successful. And I think we have a really good group right now.
Yeah, you talked about, obviously, this is just really challenging. I don't see coaching at all the programs we have here at Ole Miss, but you just juggle a lot. And you do have an assistant now. You've had an assistant the last going on 3 years. Yeah. So I know that's helpful, but what are the challenges? I mean, what is a day-to-day of your life? Obviously, your experience as a head coach of a program is going to look a lot different than a men's basketball, a football head coach. Yeah. So what is sort of that day-to-day for you, and what are the challenges that come along with that? Because I see that. Obviously, I'm older, and we discuss that a lot.
Yeah, I think I would say one of my strengths as a person is really trying to do the little things. And so, that's checking in on everybody, and that's, coaching everybody the way that I think they need to be coached, or, having those small little conversations, doing the little things that maybe some other people aren't doing. But it takes time. It takes effort. And, when you're coaching 40 people and you're trying to get 40 people better, and this sport is hard. And so, being able to get to know your athletes and figure out what makes them tick and how to get them to that next level, it does take some time. And so the recruiting aspect is big. Obviously, I had Lewis for the last 2 years, who was a huge help to me. I've got Allie now. So the recruiting aspect is definitely something that I've had a big help with the last 2 years. But then coaching-wise, too, I mean, you're coaching the 800 to the 10K. Totally different events, totally different time management plans, everything. So just being able to, again, give everybody the attention that they need, it takes a lot of time and work. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's it's a sometimes 4 or 5 a.m. to midnight. And so just you got to really figure out how to have good time management. You got to be selfish, and like I said, I got a family at home too, which is important to me. So I always say, if you want to be a good dad, you got to get up early and then do the things you need to do so you can spend time with them and spend time with your kids that you have here too. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, being available and being on all the time takes a little bit of effort, but yeah, you figure it out.
I'd say if like intentionality could win championships, like we would have had a ton, because I just think you do such a great job of that. I mean, thanks. I ask this all the time to you because personally I just don't know how. I mean, we're giving to a few people in our life, and you've got an actual family, a wife and a daughter, and then you've got all these 40 athletes. And truly, I've never seen you treat anyone different than the other. about everyone's family. You know everything that's going on in people's lives, and you enjoy doing that. And I think that that's what separates you so much from a pack of a ton of coaches. But when things are really, really chaotic, and I know your phone, like I've never seen someone get so many texts. It's ridiculous. Like I wish sometimes my phone blew up like that. It doesn't. But how do you disassociate at times from the chaos? What do you like to do outside of being a head coach?
I like to play some golf. I like to run. When I worked when I did the Charlottesville thing, I played a lot of soccer, a lot of softball. So yeah, being able to unplug is important. But I play a lot of golf. I've got a great friend network. Whether it's people back in Chapel Hill or people here, we have a great friend network here. I had a great network in Charlottesville. So just being able to find people who care about you and you know have a really good support network is important to me, to be able to unplug and turn it off. So
he sings and plays guitar. So if anyone locally in Oxford is looking for live music, we have your guy.
Thanks.
I guess, you know, really getting into the team this year, it's a very different group than what you've had. You've got obviously some experience on there on the men's side and a little bit on the women's, but what are you expecting from the team? You guys are going to open up this Friday, so this is actually very, very timely in Missouri. What are you looking forward to this season? How's the team looking?
Yeah, we have a really different team. I mean, since I've been here, I think this is probably the deepest on the men's side, especially. This is probably the deepest team that we've had, with a lot of senior talent. Actually, the top 4 guys that we have probably going in this weekend are all transfers. So Toby, who came 2 years ago, he's finishing up his eligibility this fall. So you know he ran 13:16 this summer, which would have been a school record if he didn't run out of eligibility, but he's an All-American. We have Hatter Mischina, who's transferred from Florida State. He's going to help us out big time. Lucas Earl from Wingate, and Evan Thornton Sherman. I mean, I think those are kind of the big 4 we have right now, and then a lot of upperclassmen depth behind them. I mean, a bunch of juniors, seniors, and 5th years between Gabe Scales and Landon McNair, and we got young guys like Kai Haher and Zach Gilbertson, Aiden Hodge. So really, really talented group on the guys' side. And the women's side, we have a lot of new faces who are really making an impact for the first time this year. Obviously, losing a low stick like yourself, wish we could find a 7th year of eligibility for you and Cross there. But I don't think that one's in the cards.
It's not possible.
But yeah, I mean, I think between Sophie and Beth, those 2 are kind of our senior leadership right now on that side that we're looking for. We have some girls who are still kind of coming back who aren't going to open up this weekend, but hopefully we have them by the end of the season. And then some young girls who are, like I said, are really trying to find their mark here and make a big impact. So we had some really good freshmen who showed out for us at Memphis 3 weeks ago. So looking forward to their first 6K this weekend. Honestly, a lot of unknowns this weekend. So we're going to find out. It's a nationally loaded field, a lot of talent in the race. So we're going to kind of see what we're made of this weekend. And yeah, there's no better way to do that than shooting the gun off and seeing what happens. So, you know, we're gonna get them to the start line and then see what they can do.
Well, you know, I'm anxious, obviously, as a fan and a teammate, but anxious to see how they do. And we thank you so much for being on the podcast with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a long time coming, so thank you.
Yeah, of all the interviews I've ever done, side note, I got 2 degrees in journalism, and for the last 2 years, I have done so many interviews and projects with about every coach and administrator on this campus in athletics, and never my own coach. So it's been a running joke that I've just avoided any time interviewing him.
I finally, I guess I paid my dues enough to get the pod.
Today we did it, long awaited. It was very good. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.